Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to another fun-filled episode of The Other Side of the Ropes. I am your humble host, quote unquote, uh, Shaka, aka Red, aka Black Magic, aka the guy who used to be called the Crimson Assassin. And for the last couple of weeks, yeah, I know, it's kind of like beating a dead horse. Doesn't, not quite, no. It seems like a dead horse, but it's not. Um, for the last 3 weeks, and this is week 4, we're talking about the whole thing. Yeah, 4 dead horse. All right, stop. Anyway, uh, I was talking about this whole rant about uh, conditioning and wrestling, and it's funny because I get on this I get on this subject a lot because of the fact people don't realize that in certain sports it takes, well, actually in all sports, if you're an athlete, I don't care what level you're on, you know, even if you got guys that say they competed in high school, I mean it's varsity level, right? Okay, they don't quite understand at that particular point in time. Even then, you're getting the basic building blocks of not just being in shape but being conditioned. And see, the thing they don't press the issue about is usually little stuff like, oh, I don't know, nutrition. But I'll get into that in a minute. But my point is, like I said, there's a huge distinction between being in shape and being in condition. And a lot of guys, this is how much has been taken for granted here. Um, See, here's the thing, and I said this a couple weeks ago. There's a difference between having that Cadillac body, but it runs on a Volkswagen engine because there's no gas in the tank. I mean, sure, it's beautiful to look at, but there's not much you can do with it. It's just basically eye candy, you know? Now I'm talking about the souped up, the souped up, gassed up guys that you see on television that grace our televisions every week, either on cable or syndication. And I'm not going to mention any names. But yeah. But see, here's the thing. And I'm going to quote uh, somebody from, in the minds of many, an old school wrestler. I used, uh, Dusty Wolf. When I met Dusty, it was about nearly 4 years ago. It was the last time I wrestled in Belgium. And in fact, it was 2 nights after my partner Bull and I uh, had taken the Flemish Wrestling Force tag titles and the Deutsche Wrestling Alliance tag titles the following night. And he ran a seminar back in Belgium, at the FWF camp. And he said, look, it is what it is, but they do what they do just to hawk T-shirts. In fact, I remember that quote from Beyond the Mat. You know, so I mean, it's true. 'Cause, I mean, like their whole raison d'être seems to be a much more different thing. But I'll get into that, in another segment. Now, like I said, we're supposed to be talking. I'm supposed to be getting on this, wrapping up this whole thing about conditioning. And I actually kind of trailed off in a thought last week. Now I think about it, and I caught it, and I looked back on it, and I realized I trailed off and forgot. Like I said, it was a bit of a tangent. But the thing is, okay, the object to wrestling, and this is a point a lot of us miss. The object to wrestling is to get the other guy off his center. That is just another form of human chess. This is in a grappling turn point, you know. And if you don't believe it's a close quarters combat sport, well, let's see. The armed forces are now offering more courses on grappling now for the past couple of years. And we missed up on that. I missed out on that big time when we had hand-to-hand combat basic training. So I'm just saying. But grappling, as Bruce Lee put it, is the fourth, yeah, 4 fingers, the fourth, I'll say it again, the fourth level of hand-to-hand combat. You have, or the fourth range. The far that's being the closest, the farthest being kicking, The two in the middle are punching and trapping. You don't hear about trapping too much, but think parry, so to speak. It's pretty rare. But no, the whole object of grappling is to get the other guy off his center. He loses his center, that means he loses his balance. He loses balance, he's off his feet. Now you learn this in high school with varsity wrestling. Folk style just involves, for the most part, the takedowns to the rise because you're trying to get the guy on his back to get a pin. Now in the case of, say, catch as catch can, this is where we got our rules from for pinfall or submission. Catch as catch can is a submission grappling sport. It's so old, nobody really knows how old it is, but a lot of stuff that's in catch as catch can possibly even predates Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. There, I said it. And it just goes to prove you don't need to wear a gi to be able to get the quit sign to make somebody tap or pass out or just break something, you know. And for everybody that gets a little torn up about the old school thing and all that, also I'll go into that again later on. Thank Karl Gotch for the whole thing about strong style because he taught those guys. He brought Wigan style catch as catch can on the map. And after that, the guy that came after him was Billy Robinson. Billy Robinson is one of the head coaches for the scientific wrestling thing that Coach Jake Shannon is bringing out in the West. As a matter of fact, it's Billy Robinson and Dick Cardinal. In fact, Coach Shannon is involved in all that. And for those of you who don't know, Coach Shannon actually was a worker as well. The guys who's on the boys know what I mean when I say that. But he's the guy that did Say Uncle, the book that I brought out a few months ago to the column. And I showed that, but that was Coach Shannon's book. He interviewed the late Karl Gotch. I had a video on Lockflow a couple of Sundays ago, lasted 53 minutes. Very good stuff. But Billy Robinson was the guy that was responsible for the whole shoot fighting thing because he started the Snake Pit that started off in Wigan, originated in Wigan, England, where the British Bulldogs and a bunch of other guys came from. And he brought it over to Japan, and that's where guys from like the Shamrocks, Kazushi Sagaraba, all these guys came from. So there you go. But the whole point of the conditioning, you're going to do a lot of movement. So therefore, you got to drill. You're going to do a lot of movement on the ground. You switching levels. You're not going to be standing the whole time. You're not going to be in a clinch the whole time. A lot of guys don't realize what you have to do to clinch. You have to be conditioned for that. Build your arms up. You don't have to be for that. No. You just have to have the gas in the tank to do that. You got to be able to shift levels because if you can't do too much in the clinch game, guess what? You got to attack the body. When you attack the body, that's a waist lock. If you can do that, you can still get a takedown if you know what you're doing. It's all about mechanics. It's all about technique. Otherwise, you want the other guy to expend as much energy as you can get him to do so you don't have to, so he's doing your work for you. That's how grappling works. But that's kind of a lost art even for people who are in the ring that claim that they're wrestlers. And what I'm doing, anything I say, I back. Okay, even if I said I don't compete in MMA anymore, I still train because of the fact that conditioning is quite beneficial to what I do in pro wrestling. Very beneficial. Notice there's a lot more gas in my tank after or during a match, no problem. I'm cool. You know, learn that even if I don't have to use stand up, it's still good. You know, I mean, because you're going to expend a lot of energy if you're on the ground too. You never know. People don't realize that. That's the reason why I get on this whole thing. Nutrition is another story, so it might be a fifth one. Because I mean, I can give you a brief thing on what I'm doing now, which is I'm constantly tweaking my diet. I mean, I don't mess around with sports drinks because of the high content of, high fructose corn syrup. I don't mess around with beans, legumes. I kind of cut down on the whole thing with nuts, even though I do like nuts. For all you pervs, get your minds out of the gutter. Dairy. Much as I like cheese, I'm trying to cut that out. So what usually stays in my refrigerator is either one of two things, if not both. Coconut milk or almond milk. Those are my alternatives. No, I do not use soy, but I'm not entirely partial to it. But those are my other two choices. I do not cook with any oils or fats that come from any beans or anything like that, or seeds. I use either coconut oil, which goes a long way, believe it or not. A lot of health benefits. Or I use extra virgin olive oil. Normally, I've been leaning more towards the coconut oil. As far as fats, animals. I use krill fat pills. I use krill oil pills as opposed to fish. I can use either or. As far as my meat intake, eggs, fish, lean beef, bison, which is a very cleaner version alternative to beef, or very lean lamb. There you have it. I definitely get my greens. I'm partial to baby spinach and arugula. And I don't have to cook it for long. I blanch it. Those are my cooking secrets for everybody that sees me on Facebook. But now we're running down to the grind a little bit. But also, quick shout out to the Nigerian Nightmares. We got Maifu on Top Rope Radio last night. We got to spend a half hour talking with him, and it was a pleasure. But in the meantime, we're gonna hit the shout outs, and I'm gonna try to keep this as short and simple as I can possibly get away with. Of course, big shout out to my boy Johnny Logan and the rest of the 38 Proof Clan. For NWA Wildside out in Arizona, Nick the Sickness. Doing the Occupy LA, I got Twisted Sister out there, Liz Savage out in LA. We have my buddy Dawn out in Oregon. For the folks out here on the East, you got happy belated birthday, Blade Walker down in Georgia, wherever you are. Big ups to Marcellus and Body Snatcher, members of D-Line over in MCW. Let me see, who am I forgetting? Trina Stratus from Maximum Championship, Massive Mike, Chuck, E.L. Stanley, the rest of you guys from down in the Maryland area, Marty, aka Eric Chappell, the crew down in Delaware for PPW, Power Pro Wrestling, and Dynamite Championship Wrestling. Of course, in the following weeks, I'll be back up in Tamaqua for Elite Generation Wrestling. Big ups to the guys up there. Sean Fury, Lucifer Grimm, Cletus Gambito, all you guys up there. Grizzly, not Southern Grizzly, I mean Grizzly Warrior. To the 215 Empire, the 212 Empire, you guys know who you are. My usual suspects up there, Junior White, Xavier Fate. This is what I hate when I start getting brain cramps. To my older frats and over on the Philly side, Slayer, Uncle Flex, Biggie Biggs, the Risky Business Inc. crew over in Jersey. The rest of the crew of Doc Diamonds, Devastation University. Over in Europe, my usual suspects over in the UK. That's right. I'm gonna put you over. Yeah, I'm talking about T-Tola Tommy Stevens, PT player. That's right, the man himself, Mr. P.D. Staniforth. Drewy, Woo, Milkshake, Jim, Vicky, Tobes, all you guys, Phil Taylor, Tony Allen, Craig Gunner, over in Belgium, the regular crew over there, Bull, Lori, Thorax, Jack Demento, Rob Raw, Wendy, Homeless, Gangrene, Enderdad. My boys over in Holland. Of course, I'm talking about Uncle Vito, the Sumerian Death Squad. They're still kicking ass over in Kuroquin Hall and the like over in Japan right now. Big ups, guys. Keep having fun. Keep kicking ass. Big ups to my man that's also accompanying them over in the West Coast, over in the East Coast. My man, I haven't gotten to speak up to him in a long time, Mr. Devin Moore. My usual cast of characters over in Deutschland, including the Jamaican Selector, Kenton Hunt. The House of Jacks, happy belated birthday, bro. I'll get that thing out to you as soon as possible. Craig BC, the two Susies, also both in Dresden and in Berlin. Maya Natakta, none other than my girl Savannah. Kathy, Maddie, Sandra, The Voice, Rick Valentine, the AWM guys. Marcel and the crew over in Pro Wrestling Fighters, the Pro Wrestling Eve Cats. Of course, I'm talking about Mina, Jazzy, and of course, Yenny. The boys down in Austria. Big ups to and congratulations over the weekend. He just became the newly crowned Smash champion. I'm talking about none other than Starbuck over in Finland. Big ups, Buck. And the rest of you guys who I may have forgotten, don't worry. You're definitely in the car somewhere, even somewhere in the back in the dark recesses of this Swiss cheese mind of mine. I didn't forget about you, even if I didn't bring you out there. In the meantime, I'm over the 15-minute limit. I try to keep it sweet, but okay, I tried. On that note, incense. I'm out, people. Stay tuned. This will be on Facebook as well as YouTube, and as well as ProWrestlingDaily.com and WrestlingJunkies.com. I forgot about Tazzy from WrestlingJunkies.de and Marcus for Wrestling Fever. But yeah, check this out on Facebook. Check this out on YouTube. ProWrestlingDaily.com, WrestlingJunkies.de, and stay tuned next week for another fun-filled episode of The Other Side of Ropes. I'm Black Magic, and I'm out. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.